it's bourbon night?
Question. Who put a question mark in the teleprompter? Who left the sound on?
Who left the sound on?
Where is it?
Oh, wow. Yes.
Oh, no.
Who let the dogs out?
Who left the sound on?
Okay. I had it muted on the other one.
You're okay.
Usually
You're okay.
translates.
I just like to give them a hard time. They know this. It's okay.
No, we had to start over.
No.
Live
Chad
over.
says, scrap it. We're done.
Shuts
We're
the laptop.
leaving for the
Shuts
night.
the laptop.
We can't leave. Look at all this.
Well, we got a box of samples.
Look at this box.
Some of these samples we've been holding on to
for a long time.
for like maybe second year of the channel.
I'm really glad that we have held on to them though, because now we have occasion.
It's so much more germane.
Oh, you love to work that in.
To the goings on of where we're going. And where are we going, Sarah?
We're going to Scotland.
Yeah, very soon.
We leave this week.
So it's high time that we get a little bit of a Scotch education.
Sure.
Before we go over there.
We've
and
done a little bit.
act a fool.
We've been on with the SMWS folks before.
Yeah.
We've been on with Scotch Test Dummies.
Scotch Test
We've
Dummies,
sampled
yeah.
some scotches in the whiskey vault. Had the pleasure of doing that.
This is all true.
But yeah, we've never really done more than dip a toe in, and we're about to be over there for quite a bit.
Yes, we're moving there indefinitely.
Oh no.
No.
I'm excited.
So when we're thinking like we need a Scotch Sherpa to guide us, I mean, instantly we think of one person,
Yeah.
and that's Roy Duff.
Roy.
Aquavitae. We've had the pleasure of meeting Roy a few times. It's always been in Austin, Texas,
Yeah, right?
for the Bastards Ball. We got to get him over here to Kentucky, but
Share some bourbon.
especially after we go over to his homeland and meet up with him there.
It's like trading places.
Trading places, trading
Yeah.
spaces. Yeah.
The holiday.
Yeah. Okay. The holiday. Sure.
Somebody out there knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So we're going to bring him on. We're going to do some Scotch drinking. We're going to do some Scotch pronunciation
That should give you all a good chuckle.
tests.
We'll embarrass ourselves here, so we maybe don't do it there so
Right.
much.
Yeah, that's
Just
that's
here
the
in
plan.
front of all of you.
As long as it's on the internet and we're still embarrassed in front of a group of people.
I'm doing it willingly here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
So, please welcome to the show. You know him, you love him from Aquavitae. He is Roy.
Roy,
my boy.
Hey. How are
Thanks
you?
so
Good
much
to
for
see
coming
you.
on. Oh, we're doing well.
You're welcome. I'm excited by this whole idea that I'm always excited by other channels kind of getting to come to Scotland, but a bourbon channel coming to Scotland has an extra layer of interest, right? So
Yeah.
I'm super excited about that.
I picked my shirt that doesn't say bourbon on it. It says whiskey.
It does have
For
an
you,
E.
it's misspelled. Yeah, I can just do this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, if anybody
But-
gets uptight about the spelling of whiskey, they're doing whiskey wrong, I think.
They're
Right?
doing it wrong. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fair point. Fair point.
Yeah.
So we'll be drinking scotch tonight, but what are you drinking tonight?
Well, as I just in order to try and switch things up a little bit, in honor of Chad and Sarah, I'm having some bourbon tonight.
Wow.
And I've actually started off with one that I nurse very carefully because I know I understand that it might be quite tricky to get hold of.
That it is.
Yep.
Yes.
Elmer
Yeah.
T. Lee.
Elmer T.
Elmer T.
Elmer T.
Lee.
Lee, 90 proof, Buffalo Trace. Yeah, for sure.
It was gifted to me by Tom Elmer. Just coincidentally
Any
the same
relation?
name, right? No, Tom is from. We would have met Tom at I've met him at the Bastards Ball at least twice, but he's been there a couple of times. But he's actually from Alaska.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Tom Elmer,
Okay.
and no, Elmer is his surname, and obviously he gifted me this, and I've been super precious with it. So it's been open about 4 or 5 years probably, so I'm very careful with it.
You're in good company there, Roy, because I think we have an Elmer that we've had open for about 3 or 4 years ourselves. Because even over here in Kentucky,
It's
nowadays
not easy to find.
used to sit on the shelf there for $30 or less.
I remember.
And then all of a sudden, everyone went and got in a big damn hurry, got themselves
It's the way that it goes.
yeah.
It's what's happened with so many
Yeah,
things.
we find
Someone needs it.
it's the same here. It's the same here. We find we're taking up too many hours, kind of lamenting the things we can't buy anymore. We need to find ways to focus on all the stuff that we can still buy and enjoy. Right, and that's
Yep.
We're part of the
That's-
problem, right? If we evangelize about these liquids and then we can't buy them anymore, we can't complain.
It's very
So,
I
true.
know. Well, I
Yeah.
don't remember us really evangelizing about. We're not the Elmer problem.
Well, no, but still.
You can maybe
Our-
blame us for some other
Our
things, but
industry, our groups.
yeah, our groups,
Yeah.
our peers. Yeah, let's get something in the glass, and then we're gonna go with round one of pronunciation. So we have 3 rounds. There's about 6 distilleries in round one. I think there's 5 in the other 2 rounds. It's gonna go easy, moderate, and then
More challenging.
more challenging. So hopefully this first round will be.
Now, Chad, you queued up the things to put them in so people could see the names on screen.
Oh, that doesn't matter.
But you didn't look up the pronunciations.
No.
Okay, good.
Of course not.
Because that would, make it an uneven
Yeah,
play.
I could have a good week to look at these names, and it's not going to help me any, Sarah.
He still struggles with Mississippi. So
Mississippi?
Or
No.
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
There's the other
Give
one.
me Mississippi.
you got it, Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
He's finally got it down.
Ugh.
It only took his whole life of living here.
Whatever.
What shall we get in our glass?
Yeah, so what we did is we sent Roy sort of a list of what we have. Now, we're not saying, hey, guide us in a way that makes sense.
Sure, but you can boss us around if you want to.
Well, yeah, you can say.
I've kind of, you've obviously, your community have been sending you these samples, right? Because some of them are,
Yeah.
some of them are very nice samples. Okay, so if I was to just zone in on one and pick it out, would you be able to grab it, or would you have to rake for it? Would it be difficult?
They're all going to be.
Because there's a few
rigged.
here that I think are interesting. So we've got, for example, we've got a Girvan 35-year-old at 42%.
Sure.
I'll find it. Keep going.
Well, while
Girvan.
Sarah's looking, we do have
And also look for a Cadenhead's Glen Grant, 22 years old at casks.
Okay, and hopefully none of these are clues for the pronunciation later.
Yes. I have avoided one or two for that very reason. Yes.
So the numbers are there.
Thank you.
While Sarah looks for that, we have a super chat from Michelle Martin here. She says, Slanche Ve? See, I'm already
The
messing up.
pronunciation has already begun.
Chad, Sarah, and Roy, wish we could have joined you in Scotland, but here's to you having an awesome trip. Thank you. Thank you, the Martins. We appreciate that very much. And as soon as we get a whiskey in our glass, we will cheers you.
So that's they're helping you out there because it's Slancheva, but Va is actually
Slancheva.
spelled Mhath.
No,
But
no,
you
it's
pronounce
not.
Cadenheads.
You pronounce it Va. I know, but if you were to see that word, it looks like math with an extra H in it. If you were to see that while you were here, you would hopefully know immediately that that's not math.
Oh.
It's actually Va. Slancheva.
Va.
Oh,
Slancheva.
Yeah.
So
And
6
it's
letters and it's va.
frustratingly, I'm not a Gaelic expert. I should say that at the beginning. I don't know Gaelic at all, so I only learn these things kind of parrot fashion, right? But the MH is a V sound, but also BH. If you see a B and an H together, it also makes a similar sound.
Wow.
We'll
I'm not
get
I'm not
into
gonna
that
remember any of
a
that.
little bit later.
Yeah.
It's just you don't need to speak Gaelic, believe me, to enjoy whiskey.
Okay.
Well,
see, that was sort of
Not
I
one
mean,
of the rules.
It's like
Well, I
it's
should
like a
say-
given name, isn't it? So if somebody tells you that their name
Right.
is, I know, Neve or so many other, Gaelic or Gaelic names, you kind of have to learn how to say it in order to be polite, I think. Because if you
Right.
were just to continue the silly way, then that would just be showing a lack of effort and a bit of rudeness, I think. And I think it's the same with place names and brand names to an extent too, that you just, once you get your head around it and practice once or twice, usually you get past it. But anyway, we'll see how we got on tonight.
Yeah, we'll see.
We will.
Well, it's sort of like, over here we say Adidas, and over there it's Adidas. Like, so there's obviously, right?
I think. I don't know.
Adidas, right? Adidas, the shoes, the brand.
Well, for Adidas or Adidas, we would either way works. We
okay.
tend to say Adidas, if I'm honest, but we're often
Oh.
corrected. we're often corrected with the suggestion that it
By
actually
know-it-alls.
is Adidas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Adidas.
So the two that you mentioned were the Cadenheads, the 22-year-old, and then the other one, I don't think I could find. What was that one?
A Girvan
I found a-
G.
Oh yes, I did find that. Where did it go? Got it. 25 year.
So is there one that we should start with over the other?
Yeah, the reason that I grabbed the Girvan is that we only make two types of whiskey in Scotland, and it's malt whiskey, and we also make grain whiskey. Girvan is a grain whiskey, and because it's produced from any grain in a column still, which could theoretically be corn, although mostly it's wheat, it's the closest thing that we have to bourbon. So our grain whiskey, and we only make grain whiskey, I think, in seven or eight distilleries now, I think.
I
So
didn't know.
it's whereas malt whiskey is made in batches, small batches, in 140 distilleries. But we make much more grain whiskey than we do malt because of the scale of the production at those grain distilleries. They're very large volume. So is that what you've poured then, Girvan?
That is, yes.
We have.
And this is thanks to Tiffany and Jamie.
Tiffany and Jamie.
The Girvan 25 year, 42%, so 84 proof?
84 proof, yeah. See, over here you say malt liquor, and that drums up a completely different image. That's, you're going to the gas station to their little selection to get some malt liquor off of the bottom shelf. It's, a different ballpark.
Yeah, I mean,
Hey, that's light.
all we're doing there really is specifying, I suppose, the ingredients, that if we can make whiskey from any grain, it's just grain whiskey. But specifically, if it's made in a pot still, small batches at a time, obviously you can't continuously distill malt whiskey because it's made in pot still. Then, that's kind of what we're talking about when we talk about single malts or blended malts. That's what you're going to explore when you're here, single malts. And let's
Yeah.
face it, if I'm honest, the reason that you love bourbon is probably because of the corn, and the reason that we love the reason that we love single malt Scotch is because of barley. It's because of that.
Barley.
It's just the perfect grain for making whiskey. You'll work out when you get here that we don't have the best climate for growing corn, but barley does grow very well here. So
Yeah.
it just kind of makes sense, right? It's of the place.
This is nice
But
and
what you're
bright.
drinking there,
Light and
what you're sipping
sweet,
there
yeah.
is probably wheat. Girvan is a distillery, quite a large distillery down in just about an hour or so south of Glasgow. But I think you'd actually listed it as a 35-year-old, but it's actually a 25-year-old.
Oh, yeah, it's a 25 year.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oops.
that's a
Keystroke.
Yeah. Typo.
It's still a considerable age, but it should be very soft and light, especially at 42%. It should be very easy,
Yeah, it is very
Quite
easy. There's
sweet.
like a
Very light.
gentle smokiness on the finish. It's
Yeah,
almost
there
just
is.
like a campfire is somewhere nearby, but it's not necessarily in my mouth.
Right.
I would be surprised if there was any smoke there at all. But I
Well,
wonder
for a-
I wonder if just the notion of Scotch whiskey brings a kind of a spectre of smoke to you guys.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be
You know-
a peated cask or something. Or
Yeah, possibly. We get smoky sometimes on bourbon, even if it's just like a double-barreled bourbon or something. We might get a little bit of
It's very
the
the
gentle.
smoky vibe. Our meter for smoke is going to be way different
Way lower,
than your Scotch drinker. But I wanted to, before we get too much further, pull up our next super chat, which is from Don Nishida.
Done.
He says, if you had to choose one bourbon sample from the IBN library to give Roy the best representation of bourbon, what would you choose?
Whoa.
Dusty, craft, LE, everyday drinker.
That's
a really
crazy.
good question. First of all, for Michelle and for Don, we'll do a little cheers
I
for
was
you.
like, wait, I don't have a.
I think for me personally, and you can answer how you would, Sarah. For me, it would either be LE limited edition or Dusty vintage. Because that's just more out of your ordinary. It's hard enough, I would imagine, Roy, from what I've heard from you, that it's hard to get even just normal bourbon over there. You said you were coveting the Elmer T. Lee. So you probably haven't had a whole lot, presumably, vintage bourbon or these limited edition bourbons. So I would pick one of those. Now, which one? I don't know.
I would say I would probably also lean towards an LE, and the only reason is because, like, again, if it's so limited, especially internationally, I would want you to have, like, what I would consider to be the best of the best. But I don't think I would pick a Dusty as a representative because it's not the way that it is anymore.
True.
It's not representative of how it is today.
Yeah.
However, the LEs aren't representative of the general market, but like if I'm giving him one special sample, I want to make it really special. So it would probably be like whatever my favorite thing is right now, or whatever my favorite LE was from last year. Mm-hmm. So it would probably be from last year, the Parker's Heritage Double Barreled.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Or the year before, the Four Roses LE.
Mm-hmm. Or something like a William Heaven Hill, or something like that.
Oh,
so one
purple.
of my favorites of all time.
134.4 proof.
Yes.
11-year.
Well,
top.
I have some Four Roses, and I had a store pick gifted to me that was delicious, and it got rinsed. It was absolutely gorgeous.
Got rinsed.
I have some standard Four Roses. I have some standard Evan Williams, but you're absolutely right. I don't have many LEs. But what's happened there is I find it interesting is that we're whiskey geeks, okay? We may be in different categories, but we're all whiskey geeks. And you would think that we would be the perfect people to ask advice, and then someone asks us that question, and it probably takes us an hour to not answer it properly, right? It's just so difficult.
Yeah, it's a politician. It's just talking around it, but never actually answering.
No worse person you can ask for a recommendation is a whiskey geek, right?
It's true, because it's like it's so weird. It's like option paralysis almost. It's like there's so many options, or I have awareness of so many things. It's really hard to narrow it down to just, a few or one. Mm-hmm. But then you talk to someone who's just like your everyday enthusiast who's really into this distillery or like this category right now, and they'll tell you immediately all of their opinions, whether you ask for it or not.
Yeah.
That's
but
right.
I gotta respect that they know what their opinion is, where I'm like, I don't know. Well, I haven't considered it from this angle before. And everybody's like, just get to the point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the further you go on in your journey, and the more you kind of widen your palate and open yourself up to new experiences, new flavors, the more open-minded you become. And I think that's what makes it quite... what would you... How would you rate this?
Highly.
Highly, yeah.
Okay.
Zach Jr.
Well, this is a gift from my friend from Oregon. He's actually from Edinburgh, but he works for Adidas or Adidas.
And we've come full circle.
Nice. Like a good
yeah,
callback.
we've come full circle, yeah. And it says for Roy, a wee token to thank you. You, and then he goes on to cuss at me. That's a little, and I've had this for a while as well. And again, because it's so difficult to get a hold of, perhaps where you are too, as well as here. I'm quite precious with it, but I might pour that one next if that comes highly recommended by the IBN team, right?
Absolutely.
I would say yes.
Absolutely.
Just buckle your seatbelt.
Buckle up. Michael S. here, the super chat. I just popped in for a wee bit as I'm headed to an SMWS tasting event in Oakland, California.
Oh.
Have a great time sipping with Roy and a bra time on your Scottish trek. So yeah.
You're gonna get it.
Yeah, I'm getting there. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
Appreciate that. And he laughs. And he laugh it up, Scotch boy. Let's get into round one of pronunciation.
Let's do it.
While we're laughing
I'm
at
ready.
us. Okay. So I'm gonna put it up on screen here, and
no time or anything.
No, why don't you go?
I'll go first.
Then I'll go. Okay, before we do, let's get Tony also here.
Okay.
Tony, bag of donuts. I could have missed the whole stream. Power kept going out. Yikes.
Oh, no.
Cheers, Roy. Welcome back, Sarah. That's
Thank
right.
you.
Welcome back, Sarah.
Oh,
Hope
yeah,
you have
I
a
forgot.
wonderful trip. Send postcards. Oh, and hi, Chad. Drink more Scotch.
Question mark?
Indeed.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Tony.
I'm ready.
All right, here's the first one. Again, this is round one. These should be the toss-ups, the softballs.
Oban.
Yeah, I would also say Oban.
Not Oban, right? Oban.
Perfect. It rhymes with open. So it's one of the most common ones. That's why it's up there first. I would imagine it's just
And we're going to Oban.
We are going there.
Cool.
there. You go. So it's pretty important that you don't say Oban. Yes.
Yeah.
No Oban.
That's how we started,
Oban.
and it was actually Todd Cooper.
I think it
who
was
said,
Todd Cooper who was
it's
like,
Oban.
It's Oban.
It's Oban. So thank you, Todd.
So I'm keeping
here's-
score here, and you get a point each for that one.
That's right. Come on, Chad. Come on, Chad. You know this. It's Glenfiddich.
Glenfiddich.
Easy peasy. Good stuff.
Yay!
Oh, all right. We're doing
So
good here,
what I would
folks.
say with that is the CH on the end is actually, if if somebody was being, petty, or they would say Glenfiddich. So it's a soft kind of,
Fiddich.
A little.
like if you were to say Loch. But what happens
Loch.
if you don't have that
Loch.
pronunciation in your vocabulary? By the time you're an adult, you probably don't have the ability to
Yeah,
say it easily,
it's
right?
A breathy
It's a glottal-
sound. A little
glottal
bit of
stop.
yeah.
Glenfiddich.
Loch Lomond.
No.
So
Loch.
Germans
Loch Lomond.
and other
Glenfiddich.
other speakers out there have the ability to make that sound, Dutch people, for example, very easily. But if you don't have that in your vocabulary, if you can't say Glenfiddich and you say Glenfiddich, you just harden the CH to Glenfiddich and it's fine.
To a K
Glenfiddich.
sound. Yeah, I can
Not
say.
Glenfiddich.
No. That's the rookie.
That's the
rookie
rookie
pronunciation.
Yeah.
So I can say Loch Lomond, Loch, but Glenfiddich.
Perfect.
It's Glenfiddich
Don't encourage him too
is
much.
Loch Lomond. Loch Lomond.
Good job.
Thank
I'm so
you.
proud.
All right, we're gonna move on to the
Me
third
too.
one here. Then we're gonna go for another. Roy's proud of me, sir.
I know.
It means so much more than when you
Oh,
say.
I know.
All right. Here's the third one. Sarah goes first.
Lefroig.
Lefroig.
Keeping it easy so far. And you're going to Lefroy
Yay.
as well.
We're going to
We're going to
Lefroig.
Lefroig. Let's get.
I'm gonna drink. I'm so proud of me.
Let's get this Caden
Yeah.
Heads
Okay.
cast strength Glen Grant, 22-year-old. This is also from Tiffany and Jamie. 57.2%.
Let's do it.
I think Tiffany and Jamie are high roller Scotch fans.
They're very kind to us.
Very kind, very nice people. We've broken bread with them before.
We have.
Yeah.
Well,
Very nice folks.
And we
A Cadden Heads Glen Grant, 22-year-old at full cast strength, should be quite nice. There shouldn't be any smoke in there for you either,
Ooh.
unless you're sensitive to it from the
No.
charred casks or something. No smoke.
I don't get it. I don't get it on the nose, but it's like a
Um,
berries and kind of a dessert sweetness. I mean, like I normally get that with bourbons. I don't usually get that in scotches, but I feel like it has a little bit of like a berry.
I was gonna say like walking into a sauna, that type of wood, which I believe is cedar.
I'm not a sauna expert, but something like
No?
that. Yeah, sure.
yeah,
don't
I get
sauna?
it. I get it.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
And also, it's maybe if I was trying to get somebody into Scotch, a newbie into Scotch, I don't think I'd be pouring a 57% ABV dram for them. But you guys are very well versed in high ABV, so it's different for you. Yeah. There's the. Okay.
A little different. It's a little different than the last one.
It's a little prickly, and I liked it at first, but like towards the finish, it was almost like. This is weird, but it feels a little electric.
It's electric. Boogie, woogie,
Oh,
woogie.
jeez.
I feel like I was liking the nose more than the,
I really like the nose.
palate, but second sip, right?
Second sip. Has a really nice texture.
Better on that second
It's a
sip.
little bit buttery, and I like that.
Woo.
It's got
It's a different type of ABV than bourbon.
but that's what I mean
Yeah.
by like it has this like my tongue is tingling,
Yeah. Yeah.
almost like when you eat
A little shock.
some sort of like a spice or an herb, like a really strong herb that like really jolts your palate
Yeah.
awake.
It's sort of like when you start getting frostbite.
That's that tingly feeling that I'm talking about.
My tongue has frostbite from this scotch. Put that on a t-shirt.
I'm interested. I'm gonna keep sipping it.
I'm interested. I'm into it.
Let's do more.
All right. Continuing in round one. You went, I went, you went. This one's me.
This is you.
Okay. Oh, daggone it.
No, this is round 3.
Oops.
This is round
Oh,
3.
I was like,
Right. Okay.
That
Good.
got
So just
hard really
there's no
fast.
That was
spoilers here.
crazy.
So what's happening is we're kind of just easing ourselves into this gently, making you feel confident, getting you to pour the Scotch, and then closer to the end, we're gonna dial up the heat a little bit. So
Perfect.
All right,
I like
good.
it.
I'm glad that wasn't what I was supposed to do. Aha! Bruichladdich.
Bruichladdich?
we have a difference. Now, it would be very petty of me to suggest that one of you are wrong. Is wrong.
But
But
who's closer?
I have to give the point to Sarah.
Ah.
This would have always been pronounced Bruichladdich with that ch on the end, but it would have been so soft that over time it's just been dropped. So it's now just Bruichladdich, just Bruichladdich. It's all you need to remember to say. So the ch is there as a trap, Chad.
Because in the last one, it made more of a K sound with that, like.
Yeah, and you know
on
what?
the
I
end.
knew that as soon as you said it. I was like, "Oh no, I've totally heard it called Bruichladdich before." So
Yeah. So
I was just trying to do my.
You might come across people that refer to the place Bruichladdich as Bruichladdich, and you hear the ch at the end, but the whiskey generally it's widely accepted, and they type it out as such phonetically. They'll tell you Bruichladdich. So yeah, Sarah gets
There
the
it is,
point.
phonetically
Yeah.
spelled. All right, well, Sarah pulls ahead. Shocker on pronunciations.
Oh, don't worry. We have a while to go.
Let's see.
Do we
This
have
is
one
our-
more in the first round?
We have two more.
Two more.
Two more. So this
Okay,
one
good.
is Sarah first.
Oh, I know this one. I think. Auchentoshan.
Auchentoshan. Auchentoshan. Auchentoshan. I'm just gonna have to go different if I want to possibly get a point.
No,
Auchentoshan.
you both get it absolutely right. You both got it right.
All right, fine.
It's again at the ch if you have it in your vocabulary. The ch this time is Auchentoshan.
Okay.
Auchentoshan. But if you harden it to
Auchentoshan.
Auchentoshan, that's fine too. A really funny story about this. I've got a friend who works in retail. His name's Roddy. He's regularly on the VPub Live with me. And he tells a funny story how somebody walked into his retail shop one day and asked for the new Japanese whiskey, a Kentoshan.
Well, that just reminds me of when I used to work in electronics. I was selling TVs, and someone was coming in. They were meaning to ask for a Mitsubishi, and they asked for Mr. Beachy.
Mr.
I
Peachy.
was like, he doesn't work here.
This is really growing on me. Every time I sip it, I like it more.
Yeah, I was kind of just instinctively took a drink like it was bourbon, and it didn't completely
It's
take
not
me
a
out.
jolt. Yeah.
It wasn't a jolt.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
What I will say about Scotch is that, and that's why we have such kind of good results from, I suppose, from aging it for quite a long time, is that the climate here is cold and humid. You know, we also use refill casks, so the casks use the time that they have to take on a lot more subtlety. It takes quite a while, so it's a broad brush statement because there's lots of kind of really active casks and even virgin casks that we're using these days. So you do get lots of cask story whiskies in Scotland now, but most of the time it's going to be a little bit like that Glen Grant that you're sipping. That's been in a refill cask that's probably had bourbon in it first, then maybe even had Scotch whiskey in it, and it's a second fill, and it's been in there for over 2 decades. So it's kind of the subtlety that comes of the flavour there. You'd really need to spend time with it, putting wee drops of water in and seeing what you can tease out of it, because 22 years, right? You guys were
do some wee
2 or
drops.
3 years old 22 years ago, right?
Yeah, sure, Roy.
Right.
Sure.
I was just a small elementary schooler, I think. Yeah.
Two things. One is we have where'd it go? We have Mr. Eric Waite in here.
Yay.
I would imagine also making
Thank
fun of our
you.
pronunciation.
Not
Is
yet.
he-
We've done well so far, I think. But
And,
later. He's here for later.
Yeah. And second, a little on the on polite side, but sort of had a little burp there,
Ew.
and it was like I was drinking Sprite. Like it was a carbonated citrus.
That's disgusting. I don't want to know about your burp.
Well, I'm just saying from this, like how we're in new territory. I got to take all the information that my body is giving me.
But
And
some things you can keep to yourself.
I encourage that. I really want, if you're going to vocalize about whiskey, you need to vocalize about it and use any vocabulary you have at hand, even if that's from a burp. Just use it. But what I'm picking up is that you're getting some effervescence there. It's maybe acting a little bit like popping candy or something, or
like Pop Rocks. Yeah, sort of like we get a lot on Rise. We get the effervescence.
Yeah.
Yeah, going back, I get like a lot of like citrus peel. I don't know what exactly, but
interesting.
Or like lemon, like lemon rind. I don't know.
Excellent.
Well, let's close out the round one.
Okay, I think it's your turn now.
Me?
Yes.
Okay. Glenmorangie.
Glenmorangie.
Oh. Sarah
I
was
just did
closer.
different. I just did different because I was like, I gotta get the points.
So it's a bit of a banana skin. It's Glenmorangie. So it's almost as if it was spelled Murray. It's Glenmorangie.
Glenmorangie.
Glenmorangie, like Bill Murray.
Well, we were both pretty far, so I feel like nobody gets points.
Well, you were closer, but no points awarded.
I still wasn't right.
Okay.
Glenmorangie. Okay. Noted.
Jeez.
So a wee banana skin at the end there. Apologies.
That's all right. And that was
that's
the
what
easy
makes it
round.
fun. That was the easy round.
And I think a point I need to make, if I haven't made it already, that if you're in Scotland and you pronounce a whiskey or a thing or whatever it may be wrong, and somebody picks you up or checks you for it, I hope they do it in a very polite way, because we need to keep whiskey being as inclusive as possible. And if there's this snobbish layer comes in about how to pronounce, and if you don't get it right, you don't get the whiskey or some nonsense, or you mark yourself out as an outside. I think that's a shame, don't you think? So
I do.
we always just use our social skills and be kind and welcoming it, and remind people, gently, just dropping in a sentence,
True.
and kind of helping them along rather than,
than shaming them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the pronunciation thing can be a barrier, and I don't ever want it to be.
Yeah.
Is there any bourbons that you've read and not heard said that you'd be like, I wonder how that's pronounced? I would imagine not.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I wonder. I don't think
Jim
so.
Beam.
Because bourbon's mostly written in English, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And the problem is a lot of the even Glenmorangie, that's probably from a Gaelic, legacy, a legacy that's come from Gaelic there. So most of the when we get further on in round 2 and 3 in this thing, we're going to get really tricky, and it's you're actually trying to say Gaelic names, and that's where it's difficult, because less than 2% of the Scottish population are native Gaelic speakers.
Wow.
I think it's less than 1%, and people that speak Gaelic fluently, it gets closer to 2%, I believe. It's still very small. There's been investment recently to keep the language alive and to keep it strong, and we've got Gaelic colleges now and things in Glasgow and on the islands. But that's what you're dealing with. It's a completely different language, and it was intended to be. So when it was always spoken, it was never a written language. It was only ever spoken. And when it did become a written language, it was at a point where they were trying to force it into extinction. And I think they deliberately made it very, very difficult and very different from English. So it's not. I was brought up knowing only Gaelic swear words and basic greetings like slancha and things like that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Wow.
So we don't.
Well, if we ever make a whiskey brand, we're gonna come up with some Latin name.
No.
Just to confuse people.
Like
I do think there is.
Like Aquavita, exactly.
Well, I think that there is some. When people come to Kentucky, we have not a backwards way, but
we have our own pronunciation.
We have our own pronunciations here, and if you misspeak, then people will.
Well, it's just
address it.
It's just a flag that you're not from around here.
It is, but people will tell you that's not how you say it.
Yeah,
And they don't always do it. It's a little bit snobby. Louisville, yeah.
Louisville.
So I'm getting that wrong, right? Say it again.
You said it pretty close.
Well, you actually pronounced the Ville. It's just Louisville.
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 There you go.
Like, try to open your mouth as little as possible.
Pretend you've been to the dentist and they
Louisville.
put some Novocaine in there. And just try not to open your mouth very much.
Or
It's
like
Louisville.
Like Versailles is what you would say.
But it's for sale.
But here it's for sales. And if you say Versailles, people will look at you like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Wow. For sales.
Like, that's how you say, like, that's how you let everybody know that you're not from around here.
There's actually a bourbon called Rowan's Creek that everyone says Rowan's Creek, but Rowan County here in Kentucky is Rowan. So it's actually Rowan's Creek is how I would think you would pronounce it. And everyone says Rowan, so
it's just funny
even
little
over here,
things.
people,
But I see a lot of that, like people being like, that's not how you say it. And I agree. It's like, why be mean to people? Let's be gentle with them. If you just like repeat it back in a sentence or something, they'll pick up like, oh, that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah, that's right. And I think if Rowan's Creek or Rowan's Creek, if you went to the brand and said, it's your brand, how do you want it to be said, like a given name? And they choose then to deliberately, belligerently choose another way to pronounce it is just rude, I think. So.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, they probably just have given in
to whatever
to the crowd. Yeah,
Whatever.
It is what it is. We tried for a while to say Basil Hayden,
but that's what we were told by a brand representative.
and then we saw him a couple years later, and I said,
he was
"Hey,
like-
I noticed you're saying Basil Hayden's again," and he's like, "Yeah, they told me to knock that shit off."
He was
Wow.
like, who do you know who's named Basil?
Yeah, do you know a man named
But you
Basil?
know Basil,
No,
right,
Basil,
is a name.
Yeah.
And so he was like, it's actually Basil Hayden's. And then apparently the brand was like, nah.
Everyone says Basil, so just
say Basil.
Yeah, so,
Let's go with the herb instead of the man, right?
Yeah.
exactly.
In fact, even
want
even
some
the word herb, you wouldn't say herb, would you?
Herb.
Herb.
But
yeah.
I like it when people say herb.
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 I like it.
Yeah. What should we drink next, Roy?
I mean,
Okay, shall we hit the list, because you do have some really nice ones on here. Somebody has given you something that looks quite interesting. I'm not sure what it is, but the ABV is very low. There's a Glenturret 27.
I got it. And 80%. Or 80 proof, 40%. Yeah. We'll do that. Because I have it right here. I really am partial.
So
I'm
gonna.
This is Matt
The reason
Zitrick.
I would lean towards this is I think this is going to be quite. This could be a dark whiskey. Is it quite dark?
darker than, well,
It's a shade darker than
the
Mountain
other
Dew.
ones. Just Chad.
Okay. So it's maybe, I'm just guessing here because it's from Glenturret. It could be from a refill sherry butt. So this is going to be completely different from what you're used to. There's a chance that it may even be European oak instead of American oak, which you're very used to. So even that refill cask that we had from the Glen Grant would be American oak. This could be European oak, so you might get lots of really quite interesting spice and tannins and things. I'm saying this not knowing if it is a European oak. So if you do get those spices, it would point in that direction.
I'm getting like rose petals and like a cherry cream, like on the inside of a chocolate covered cherry, like a cherry cream.
I'm getting brown butter, like a brown buttered wash cocktail, brown butter wash whiskey.
Oh.
Like this smells. There's a little bit of pork in there even. There's like pork skin.
I'm getting
and
something totally
brown
different than
butter.
Oh, I'm loving this.
Yeah, I usually pick
Is
up
there
more
any
on
kind
the
of
savory
Christmas
notes.
spices in there? Any kind of clove or?
Maybe
not
a
on
little
the
clove,
nose.
a little clove, a little crimson and
Maybe.
clover, over and over, but that's about it.
Oh, that's nice.
Brett, about to pour some
Early times. Early
time.
times. I like that.
Nice.
This is really nice. I still get, there is a little bit of maybe a baking spice in the background, but it's just like pretty delicate and light, and I get
Citrus
like a
in the middle.
cherry cream,
Lemon.
and
zest.
some floral, and it's really gentle. Again, that 80 proof,
very-
that 40% ABV.
So Glen, it's a Glen. So
Glen
a Glen.
Turret.
So again, it's Glen Turret, 27 year. This is from Matt Zitrick. I don't know if Matt's in
AKA
the
Whiskey
chat right now.
Crusaders.
Yeah.
I like this.
If anything that Matt Zitrick sends you is either going to be interesting or very, very good.
Yeah, this is delicious. This tastes like dessert to me.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It just tastes like a spring day, like laying on a picnic blanket in a meadow, eating little snacks. I don't know.
There you go.
That's where I would want to pour this.
All right.
And a lot
good.
of these really old kind of, at 27 years old, right? It's getting on for its third decade. You know, you're looking for some of that elegance to come through, right? It's going to start to. It's any ABV that it's retained is going to be much softer and rounded and more integrated. The alcohol's going to be in. It's just going to be, hopefully, quite an elegant thing.
Yeah, I love this. It's so yummy.
Time for a dram is saying, Chad, I need that shirt in my life and would love to get dimensions of this shirt. Message you on Instagram. So this is actually a shirt that we have at our shop. So it's whiskeyambitions.com. You can go there and get one. Get one for yourself.
I believe we missed a super chat somewhere.
We missed a super chat.
We apologize that we got caught up in the conversation.
Hung up. Oh,
there we go.
Sure did.
So sorry about that.
Sure did. How would you say that, Sarah?
Another pronunciation.
Yeah.
Mamuka 1977 says, "Cheers, ladies and gentlemen. I wish I could join you on a trip to Scotland. Damn job." I purposefully pick three 15-year-olds to pick 15-year-olds state. County at 15, Glen. Sorry, I cannot see this far away. Glencadam 15 and
Perfect.
Denison 15. I don't know. Mostly headed by all my friends.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay, Chad.
That sounds like a nice
last
lineup.
whiskey there is a chance for you to steal a point back if you can pronounce the last whiskey.
Deanston.
Deanston. But it doesn't. It's not part of the quiz. But it's.
Oh, extra credit?
You get.
Did you get it?
Yes, Deanston is perfect.
He can have a point.
Trust me, I'm going to need it, Roy. Let's go ahead and give me a tick.
He can have a point. I got it wrong. Also,
well, thank you, Mamuka.
The text is so old, and I'm like, or so small.
So old.
And my eyes
the text is so old, and I'm so small.
And the Scotch is working.
Scotch is working too, Mamuka. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much for the super chat. We wish you could join us too.
Yes, we do.
But that does sound like a nice little tasting lineup.
It does. Eventually, we'll be back in our normal setup where we have a big 24-inch monitor over here that we can read things on. But right now, we're still doing some work in the other room, so we're just on this laptop.
And eventually we'll be back to drinking bourbon, but not right now.
Not right now. We got to go to Scotland and back.
All right. Ready for the next one?
Let's do it.
Are we on round 2 yet?
We are.
Okay. Fight.
Round 2. Who's go?
Me.
I think it's you. Yeah, okay.
Oh, no. Ben Rinnis?
Oh, that's good. That's good. Ben Rhines.
Sarah nailed it.
Ah, yeah, I had to go different.
You do. You have to go different.
It is.
Whoa, I've never seen that one before. Ben Rinnis.
Ben
Ben
Rinnis.
Rinnis. And the trouble with this one is that it's I think people that read it for the first time would probably often say Ben Rhines, but it's Ben Rinnis.
Yeah.
Ben
I
Rinnis.
thought with the 2 N's, yeah.
Ben Rinnis.
I'm trying to look at them and think of other patterns that I've seen in other words and but
You're gonna do well. Yep.
I just like to get an A+, so.
Well, I'm just gonna let you speak first. If there's any reading of something,
He'll point and be like, you can point at me for her. She'll answer.
Yeah. All right. The next one.
I think I've heard this one before, but I cannot remember. Go for it.
Glad you do. Kleinish.
One more time.
Say it again.
Kleinish.
Kleinelish.
Klein Leash.
Klein Leash. I was closer.
Yeah, no. The first time you said it was closer than the second time. But that
was
one
very
goes
bad.
to Chad. That one.
Okay,
All right.
fair
I'll take it.
It's Klein Leash. Klein Leash.
Klein Leash.
This is delicious.
It's good, right?
This just tastes
Is this
like
easy to get, Roy?
delicious. No, I'm sure it's not. This just tastes like delicious, like berries and cream.
Glenturret is easy to get. Glenturret 27-year-old? No, absolutely
Doubtful.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this.
Yeah.
Love, love, love.
I'm not looking at the chat just in case anyone is helping.
I think
for these.
My struggles with Scotch have been like I find things that I appreciate a lot and I enjoy dissecting them and picking apart the flavors and talking about my experience. But at the end of the day, if I'm gonna pour one drink, has there been a Scotch that I've found that's fought its way onto my list of like I'm gonna pull this over some bourbons that I know and love. Mm-hmm. And so far, there really haven't been many like that I can think of that have made it onto that.
We've got these Scotch Malt Whisky
There are
Society,
some SMWS bottles that I really enjoy
back here that we have enjoyed.
But this is one, especially like this time of year when it's become like being spring outside, starting to be spring, and there's flowers, and this is something that I would reach for.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
delicious.
let's see if we can follow up with something similar and see if you can find. This is one that should have been in the pronunciation list, but I didn't include it. But it's Glenrothes. It looks like Glenrothes. It's
Glenrothes. I've heard that for sure.
I almost made a Chad joke.
It's not on.
Found it. Sherry cask. The thing is that I have discovered that I don't really like sherry cask finished bourbons, but I do really like sherry cask finished scotches. And I feel like I've tried enough scotches now to where I know that I really tend to gravitate towards this bay side, and I like a sherry cask finish.
That makes a lot of sense, Sarah. It does. Yeah.
These are things that I've learned.
And I think a lot of these are originally from James, right?
Mm-hmm.
After a few days touring here, you may have your perspectives shifted a little bit based on the experiences you have, but
I'm ready.
Yeah. I
can't
wish
wait.
It could be
I've heard.
what it would be.
I know. I've
Amazing.
heard. We've been a little nervous. People have said, you guys are gonna spend like the majority of our distillery tours are on Isla, and they're like that. For me, to you, like, that's not where I would have put you to. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, but I feel like people have said there's nothing like drinking what's made there. Like, even if it's not your normal flavor profile, like, when you're in this atmosphere, it all just makes sense.
Right.
So we'll see.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And just the fact that you're saying Isla and not Islay, you're on a winner already.
We're not that much of
Isla.
rookies. Yeah.
But again, if somebody says Islay, the worst thing you can do is make them
be like,
feel
who is
bad.
this dummy? Yeah.
Yeah.
Even I know it's Isla.
I would finish the rest of this. If we didn't have anything else to do, I would drink the rest of this and pour another one.
There you go. Yeah, this is more in line of some bourbon flavors, I feel like. And I think that's probably because of the sherry cask, right?
And it could be that the sherry
Glenrothes.
casks are also American oak sherry casks.
Yep.
Rather than
It
European
smells
oak.
familiar.
Does.
It reminds me of the nose on like a sherry finished bourbon. Glenrothes single malt sherry cask, 80 proof.
Yeah, because for 80 proof, it's pretty dark. Hide your face, Sarah.
Would you recommend this?
Iron Root. Well, it still didn't work. Yeah,
I do like
the
some Iron
Harbinger.
Root.
Is that the cast strength? I can't tell.
It is. It's the YouTuber pick.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Would definitely recommend.
Well,
10 out of
obviously.
10.
Yeah, obviously.
Do you remember you were there when we selected this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at the
That was a great
barbecue
day.
place.
The barbecue place, yeah.
So I should open this now and actually try this. It's going to taste nothing like it did when we were there selecting it, right?
No, you need to have some Texas barbecue.
So we actually brought this up. Well, maybe I brought this up. And I don't think that there's a right or wrong answer. It's just one of those things that I like to, I don't know, noodle on. Is, there are regions in Scotland for Scotch. And I guess that's based on the style, but like based on the flavor profiles, would you say?
Pop.
So yes, there's truth in that, but not in the modern context. So for hundreds of years, for a couple of hundred years, Scotch blends ruled the roost, and they still do when it comes to volume. Mm-hmm. Scotch blends are what it's all about. So Dewar's, Johnny Walker, Chivas, Grants, all of the famous blends. That's where the volume comes from. And if you're going to put together a blend and make it the same every time, what you need is consistency of flavor. So all of these regions and all of these individual distilleries in these regions, you need to make the exact same whiskey time after time, because it's a component for blends. So that's kind of being very loose. You know, there's exceptions and caveats everywhere, but that's where the regions came from: Speyside, Islay, Campbelltown, Highland, and Lowland. However, the modern concept of making malt whiskey, all of these distilleries now are trying to bring as much variation from each distillery as they possibly can, especially the new distilleries who are not making whiskey to go into a blend ever. So what they're doing is they're bringing a peated and an unpeated, and they're bringing a sherry cask and maybe a bourbon cask and maybe a wine cask or a Manzanilla cask or a Fino cask, and all of these wonderful different takes on their malt whiskey. And that's just when we're talking about cask maturation. They're also switching up how they produce the product, fermentation times, and layering it, layer after layer of variety being built in. So that destroys the concept of regionality, if that makes sense, because every single distillery is then capable of making things almost mocking what other regions were maybe famous for in the past. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yep.
So does that then take out of the, like, because again, like, I'm very new to this space. If you have can you tell someone's a new Scotch drinker nowadays when they say, oh, like what I just said, I really like a Speyside. Like,
well, what
it
you're
doesn't
talking
really
about
matter.
there is a classic example of a Speyside style. So I would imagine what you're talking about when you say that, Sarah, is probably something that's pretty fruity and light, and probably from a sherry cask.
Yes.
So some richness there. So a mix of fresh fruits and dark fruits.
Versus if I said an Islay. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's right. If you said an Islay, you'd be probably talking about a heavily peated malt, something that's super smoky, right? And if you said a Highland, you would maybe be something that's a little bit more floral and a little bit more kind of lightly spiced or honeyed. And if you're in the lowlands, you're kind of going to be these are all very generic terms and they don't really stand up oftentimes, but this is just kind of where you're from, kind of grassy, light lowland style. So, and Campbelltown is funky and oily and industrial and this kind of, and there's still some truth in that, but generally every whiskey that you pick up, especially in modern times, just go at it with a completely open mind, because it's likely to be not conformist anymore.
That makes sense.
That's
I was wondering, though, I've always been like toying with the idea of, will we see some regionality? I mean, we have states in the U.S., but will we start to see regionality? Like, obviously, there's people some people still believe that it has to be made in Kentucky to be considered bourbon, but it just has to be made in America. But Kentucky bourbon tastes very different than Texas bourbon, which might taste different than Colorado bourbon.
There's been some regionality with the states. Like, there's a Maryland style rye. There's trademark Tennessee whiskey, right? They made sure that to differentiate themselves from Kentucky.
Method.
Kentucky, I don't know if it really has a style. It's just damn good bourbon whiskey, right? Texas, it's usually younger because it's so much hotter, and it can have more barrel characteristics because of that. But yeah, I mean, beyond that, it's sort of hard to really pick out certain states and say this is their style.
That's very true. We need to speed up on our things, because we are keeping Roy up very late.
Oh,
there is
true.
a time difference.
There is a time difference. I've heard of this.
I have a vacation tomorrow, as you would say, stateside. It's a holiday here tomorrow. Relax, worry not.
Okay. Well, I don't want to keep you up all night, but thank you.
Yeah,
thank
continue.
you.
There's gonna be some people who tune in at 8:00 being like, oh, whoops.
Oh, what's happened? Yeah,
You guys
sorry
already
for
an
the
hour
time
in?
change. We didn't want to keep him up even later.
We have a couple of super chats to catch up on.
Okay.
A second one from Michelle Martin here. She says, okay, moving on to Scotch, opening an Ardbeg cask, and Roy, help us out with the pronunciation, please. Yes, Roy, help us out there, please, if you can see
Aberlour,
that.
Cascana.
Okay. Aberlour, cask.
And I can't even. Well, so the thing is it's so small I
Abalone.
can't read it.
Yeah.
That's the excuse that I'm going to use.
Yeah.
Oh,
There we go.
Abalore, cask,
Cask.
and what did you say? Anna?
Cask Anna. So the G, and
Anna.
this is going to
Just
help
Anna.
you. I'm giving tips here, is that you're going to harden that G to make it closer to a K sound. And the
Perfect,
MH
that's
at
how-
the end, you're just going to ignore. So
Just
it's
drop
just
it.
Yeah.
Anna.
Cask Anna. So
Okay.
it's
The M
yeah,
and
it's-
H are silent. Wow.
well, no, it's because it's at the end. You're dropping it. Normally, MH would be a V sound.
Oh,
I don't know. I don't understand. I want to explain why that's the
Give
case.
up.
Chad gives up. But we're not even through
Give
round 2.
up.
Keep
I
going.
know. Hold on,
I
I
know.
gotta get this sized right again,
Oh, dear.
or the next
I
one's
need
not
to
gonna
learn
look right.
Gaelic, I think.
I think that would be so interesting. It's, you hear about like languages dying and it's very sad. And I think Gaelic is so pretty. Like it's so beautiful.
Well, I have screwed this up. There we go. We're gonna.
It's just so
declare
interesting.
victory.
Yeah.
All right. Do you remember where we left off?
Let
me pull up
We did, I think
2-2.
1. We did that.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I think we did 2.
Okay.
1 and 2 of round 2. So
I think
this one will be for you,
me.
Sarah.
Yeah. We already did that.
Okay.
Wait,
so
didn't we?
No,
No. Bunahaben.
Bunahaven.
that's a point each easily.
Yeah.
And
That
there's
one
the
I
BH.
know that one.
There's the BH. So you know the BH in Bunahaven is a V. So Bunahaven. Perfect. The correct pronunciation would
Okay.
be,
We didn't get it. We
would
didn't
be-
get it. We didn't get it perfect.
No, it is. It's Bunahaven. Bona would be closer, but
Bunahaven.
Bunahaven.
most people say Bunahaven. It's absolutely fine. Or Buna
Bunahaven.
or Bunny or they'll give
Bunny-
you a drink
bunny
regardless
hopping.
of how you say it.
I want some of that bunny hopping.
Oh my god.
We got Nick here with the super chat saying Balvenie 15 oak old versus new 21 oak worth the money. That would be a question for you, Roy.
Oh, I don't know. The money is that Nick is paying in the States is going to be a lot different from what we pick here. I would say 15 oak versus 21 oak. If he's after rich whiskey, sherry cask whiskey, look out for a Glenturret. I don't know what you'd have to pay for it over there. Gorgeous Glenturret sherry cask, the one you've just
I agree.
tried.
Yeah.
But if
I
you're
agree.
after American oak, I would maybe suggest that I don't. There's just you're spoiled for choice. I'm always keen to push. I'm always keen to push people to look at that ABV because on a single malt whiskey, if the ABV is 46 or higher, there is a stronger chance that it's not been filtered. So if it's not been filtered, the mouthfeel that we all love so much, that texture is going to be far more likely to be intact in things. It's not had any of the lovely oils, fats, long chain esters stripped out during a brutal chill filtration process. So if
brutal.
look at the ABV. Look at the ABV, and if it's 46 or higher, you're probably going to find your experiences have a higher hit rate of success.
Okay.
Good tips.
One more super chat here from Joey Tony Bag of Donuts. Said just poured a Loch Lomond 11-year refill bourbon at 118 proof. I was ready to open your Russell's Reserve and Knob Creek Rye picks that showed up yesterday.
Yay.
We'll have to do a live tasting after Scotland.
Yes, we will.
Indeed.
We
Thank
do.
you,
We
Tony.
owe that. I hope that you'll hold us to that and remind me when I get back from 2 weeks worth of drinking whiskey. Please. And thank you.
Sugar Kitty saying a Glenturret 27 will cost about $350 around these parts, around here anyway.
But when you think about, okay, what would a 27-year-old bourbon cost?
Oh.
And would it even be any good? Right.
Well, we
Like-
had the Heaven Hill 27 year.
Oh, that's true.
It was a little oaky for me.
I like the 17 better.
Yeah, 17
The 17 was better. But
17.
this is totally different. But like when you're considering, I mean, shoot, it's, if I consider what most of 85% of the years of my life would be worth, like $350 is really not that bad.
Yeah, if anything,
I mean,
should
for
pay
that
more.
many years sunk into something.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I want whiskey to be that expensive. I'm just saying, like, when you put it that way. Anyways.
Especially if it's a special treat bottle, right, that you love. If you've tried it and
Yeah.
enjoyed it like that one, then you know that you're in
I
safer
would-
territory. If you had to gamble $350 before you'd even tried it, it's a different proposition, I think.
No, that's different.
Yeah.
Now that I've tried this, if I saw it on the shelf, I might be like, maybe.
You quite like that.
Can I make a case for this?
There's a difference because that's going to have been matured in a refill cask in Scotland in a much colder, cooler, humid climate. So you're not going to have quite the cask influence that troubled you on the 27-year-old bourbon that you had, Chad.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be much different in a
Very
refill
true.
cask. You'll
For
experience the climate when you get here.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I feel like it's going to be perfect for me, except the humidity. I'm really not
Yeah.
about that.
So let's
No,
see.
I don't think it'll bother you too much, but it'll feel fresh and clean. You can drink the air.
Okay.
here.
It
Okay, here's
doesn't
a
bother
good one.
me. It bothers my hair.
Yeah.
Oh, I know this one.
I think it's me, right?
I think it's you.
Wow.
I don't know if that's right.
Oh.
I got to guess, but I'm not sure.
I just looked at myself with a very smug expression on my face, realizing how much I'm enjoying this.
Smug Roy. You don't see it often.
I love it.
This one's, I don't know.
Pass?
Sight. Are you giving me clues? Is this
No, I'm just saying you just got
Two
to shoot.
syllables?
You just got to do it. I'm not giving you clues.
Dalane?
Is this, I think it's Dalwhinnie?
Dalwhinnie is a different distillery. This
Different?
is
Dalwhinnie.
this is Dalyuen. This is
Dalyuen.
How is that Dalyuen?
That's Dalyuen.
The ain is
Fail.
un.
We both fail.
And there may be other spots and places where it's Uanya or something, but Dalyuen is the distillery. It's the brand Dalyuen.
Dalwhinnie.
It's a Diageo-owned distillery. They make gorgeous liquid.
Dalyuen.
Dalyuen.
Okay.
Dalyuen.
All right, we have one.
F.
We have one more in the moderately difficult
Moderately
category. This will be
difficult.
for you, Sarah, to close
Okay.
out the round.
Oh, Glenkinchie.
Yeah, Glenkinchie.
3 points each on that one.
Yay.
Round 2, 3
I don't know
points
how
each.
we know that one, but
I know that one.
Glenkinchie.
Can you get it?
Now, I believe you are going to visit Glenkinchie, right?
No, I don't think so. We're going to visit. Well, I don't want to say it in case it's in. I don't think it will be in the rest. In the
Not in the
difficult.
hard one.
Johnny Walker Experience.
Yep.
Bruichladdich, Lefroy, Oban, and Kilchoman.
Kilcolman.
Those are the 5.
Kilcolman.
Well-
Kilcolman.
No, you don't need
No.
to worry about the CH on that one. It's another trap. It's
Yeah, but
just
it's
Kilchoman.
Kilchoman.
It's more fun that way, though.
Kilhoman?
Yeah. Kilchoman.
Kilholman.
That's
Kilholman.
the easy way to pronounce Kilchoman is just to ignore that there's a C in there at all. Just Kilchoman.
Kilhoman. So this is the SMWS 80.23 Perfectly Prickly. It's a 9-year Speyside.
Yeah, and I think
What's
in
the,
the
num- what-
Filled in
what's the number?
expert 80.23.
yeah, so whatever the 80 distillery is.
We inquiry to our Google and see.
Yeah, I think we put it in the email. I think we looked it up.
Oh,
I
you've
can't
already
remember.
looked it up.
I think.
Yeah.
Oh, Glen Spey. Okay. So Glen Spey is it's very, very difficult to find anything from Glen Spey ever. It's a Diageo workhorse distillery.
Oh.
Much like Dalyuen and Benrinnes and other ones, but Glen Spey is even more difficult to come across.
So this is
does
a
it tell you on the label what cask it's from?
yes, sir.
Yes.
It is a first fill ex bourbon hogshead.
And what's the age?
9 years.
It's a 9. And it's
Okay.
a 58.6% ABV.
Okay, that'll be interesting then.
Yeah, I like the nose.
I get a
Very
lot of fruit.
light and airy.
Yeah. Ooh.
Sort of that effervescence that we had earlier.
The palate is very like grapefruit. Tart.
Irish Spring.
Soap.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Irish Spring and cilantro.
This reminds me of like LaCroix's pamplemousse flavor, where it's like supposed to be grapefruit flavor, but it's not quite, and it's got that bubbly, that bubbly soda feel. But
Yeah.
I got it.
Okay, go ahead.
Have you ever had a cocktail where they take a little bit of pine needle and they torch the pine needle to put as a topper,
garnish.
a garnish?
It smells like a Christmas
That's
tree.
interesting.
Yeah.
Right.
It's that on the palate.
So it's resinous. It's kind of quite resinous, maybe, or
Resinous. Okay.
I like that.
I like that word, resinous.
it can be quite common in Scotch refill casks.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's got a funky,
Almost tastes like a cocktail.
on the finish, it reminds me of like an IPA beer. It's got a lot of citrus and grassiness.
Floral side
Yeah,
to it.
floral. Yeah, it
Yeah.
just reminds me of very hoppy beer.
Yep.
Resinous.
But it's interesting. But it's weird because I don't get any of that on the nose. I just get a lot of berry on the nose. But then it's a grapefruit, LaCroix, and freshly mowed grass.
Yeah. Freshly mowed pine, like someone ran over some
Pine
some
needles.
pine trees that have
They were
been
just
been on
mowing
the-
whatever's in their path.
Yeah, but I will say I got a real, if we were drinking bourbon, what I would call a Kentucky hug.
What do you call that
A
feeling?
whiskey hug. A whiskey hug, I guess.
What do you call
I feel
that?
it in the chest feels. It's a fireplace.
I think that we do need a name for it. I know what you're talking about, and I have heard people talking about a Kentucky hug. But while you're here, you can coin a phrase. While you're in Scotland, if you experience the same thing, yeah, it's just when you feel it, you just feel the spread of the warmth. Once you
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
it usually comes from high ABV, if we're honest.
Donna, she
Yeah.
just said it's a Scotland snuggle.
Scotland. It's a wee Scotland snuggle.
I love that. Oh, that's so cute.
Pop into the pub for a wee
A
Scotland
wee snuggle. It sounds like
Yeah.
you're gonna get something else, but
Well.
it's fine. All right, more names.
All right, are we ready for round 3?
I'm ready.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay.
The crunchy
This will
thing.
be
I was
Sarah.
thinking that this was my favorite one that we had gotten from them, but it's not this
Well,
one.
there was one round where you couldn't. It was just Scott and I. So there's a few that you haven't had before.
Delightful. I'll have that next.
Yeah. All right. Round 3. This is difficult level Scotland.
Okay.
Gaelic.
Expert level.
Gaelic.
Okay. Me? Oh no. Oh no.
I've
We'll-
given you tips that means that there's a way out of this that you can probably
The
fathom.
BH is the BH a V? I think it is. Yes. Okay. But the first part is really throwing me off. What I feel like it's like a wheelweist.
Okay. I'm going to say Levaheis.
Ulavesht.
Whoa!
Boom.
It's a brand new distillery in Inverness. It's a tiny distillery and brewery that's opened up there. The first time that there's been any distilling in Inverness since 1983. It's very small.
Wow. We're going
but-
there to Inverness, but not to Uleve.
Ulavest?
Ulavesht. Well, you might pass by. You might pass by and you'd be able to drop in.
Ulevesht.
I think I get the impression. I've not been there,
What's
but I
the-
get the impression it would be a nice place to visit.
What's the
Uleve.
best way to get from Fort William to Inverness? Is it a bus? It's
Yes.
okay. Yes, that's
Yeah,
what I
well,
think.
Yeah, we should probably talk about that after.
Oh yeah.
you're-
I'm just.
if you don't have any, if you don't have anything planned, it could be tricky. But yeah, there's buses run from Fort William to Inverness, no problem. Yes.
Perfect. That's probably what
And
we'll
I would,
do.
if you do that, if you are going to do that, sit on the right hand side of the bus.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, if you
On
do,
my
Probably
if you
some
right.
take
Scottish
sit on the
trick.
right-hand side. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. This will be me,
This will
unfortunately.
be you.
There's some trick here because it's in the hard category. I'm going to say it's leg.
Leg.
Yeah, it's leg.
It's just leg.
It's just leg. It's called leg.
Jimmy Leg is in the house.
It looks like Ladag, but I feel like that's a
Ladag?
trick. I feel like the G is probably silent, but I'm going to go with
I
Ladag.
think what we're proving here is it's going to be tricky for you to score a point on the last round. This
Yeah.
is it's Ledchik or Lechig. So the D is a newbie for you. The D, that's it's almost like a ch sound, and the G, the G at the end is. Remember we spoke about hardening it to a K
Uh-huh.
sound.
Yes.
So we've got Lechik or Lechig, and it's actually a brand from Tobermory Distillery. Tobermory Distillery used to be called Lechig Distillery.
Lechig.
So there we go. A tricky
Wow.
one, but gorgeous, gorgeous
yeah.
whiskey.
Okay. I feel like I need a new whiskey
My
before
confidence
we
is.
continue.
This is I've been picking the tough stuff. It's not going to get any
You did a
easier.
great job. No, this is fun.
You see how there was no advantage of me seeing this list first?
There was no advantage of you seeing this list first. Okay.
No. Oh, actually,
Absolutely.
quite liked that last little drag of that one. That
At
wee
first,
little
I was
dram.
like, "Oh, this is interesting," and the more that I drank it, and it was again like that hoppy IPA, citrus grassy. I feel like before you said,
It is a little hoppy.
I'll remind you later what you said before about this one. I won't remind you right now because I don't like to talk about it.
All right. Well, should we do more Scotch malt?
Yeah.
Or is there another from the list, Roy, that you think we should?
I could pick one from the list if you like. It could be
I kind of want to
interesting.
try. I kind of want to try
I
one
have
of
to
the
do it. I have to do
SMWs.
it to you. I have to do it to you. It's one of my favorite malts,
Oh, it's peated.
Lagavulin 8.
Lagavulin 8. Let me see if it's on the list. No. No, yeah, it is. It's number 2. Look for number 2. It's right here.
2. Got it.
Lagavulin 8. This is an Isla, Roy. This is an Isla.
Oh dear. Oh my gosh.
I think we should go to
my
solo
gosh.
screen. We should go to solo screen for this one.
Okay.
We
I'm
will,
going to drink
yeah,
it
we will.
with you.
All right.
Yay! Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
It's less dark than Mountain Dew.
I poured you too much. I'm sorry.
Thanks. Gonna have to throw this glass away later.
Oh, Chad. Woo!
Lagavulin 8. Yeah. So, James, he had these broken out. He put this one try last and with a cigar.
With a
after
cigar,
tasting.
yeah. I can't imagine with a cigar. I mean, it's already like so powerful.
Oh,
on
come
your palate.
on. Come on with the Band-Aids.
Oh, don't be like that.
Everyone was thinking it.
Unfortunately, I did say that I do enjoy this. This bottle is
Oh.
empty.
Look at you.
So-
Okay.
Instead, I've gone for the 12-year-old, which is a cask strength version, just so that I can have some
Nice.
similar flavors along with you. Anyway,
So an 8-year, is this like what would be like a $20 bottle over here? I mean, 8 seems kind of young for Scotch, right?
I'm going to try and make this as succinct and quick as I can. So,
Yeah.
when Scottish whiskey went downhill really fast at the end of the 70s and the 1980s, after a period of huge overproduction and over optimism, I guess, for future sales, we ended up with so much Scotch whiskey that we called it the whiskey loch. We just the product of over, and it was because people were the fashion was clear spirits like vodka and cocktails and sparkling white wines. Whiskey was an old man's drink, and it was not fashionable. So for years it just sat there and it wasn't selling very well. Scotch whiskey became not very fashionable for a long time. And then throughout the 80s and the 90s, they had to find ways to make it more popular. So the age statements went up. So an 8-year-old became a 12. And it got older and older and older because they had the stock available and they were underselling the stock. So what we see is a young age statement of 8, 10, or 12 years old today in today's context. Back in the 60s and the 70s and the early 80s, and an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old, that was a mark of premium quality. That was a well-aged product. In fact, it used to be the old school of thought that once it got to its teenage years and beyond, it would be over-oaked, funnily enough. So it's just, in time, just the changing dynamics in Scotch has made us believe that 8-year-old is young, but Lagavulin 8 is actually a very, very polished product but I know it's going to be difficult for you guys because you don't enjoy this style of whiskey, and I'm picking this to be troublesome, of course. In the core range, there's an 8-year-old at 48%, which you have. They have a 12-year-old that's cask strength, which is released annually, and they have a 16-year-old, which is the ubiquitous, everybody knows Lagavulin 16. It's about $100 in the States, I think. Maybe going up in price now at 43%. The one you've got is at 48.
Right.
48. Okay.
I enjoy it very much. Anyway, Slancha.
I'm going to try to be as... I'm going to try
Diplomatic?
to walk through this with you. No, not diplomatic. I want to give you my experience as it's happening.
I want you to taste the sweetness. I want you to taste the lemon and the icing sugar. I want you to taste beyond that peat smoke.
Yeah,
I want you
that's
to
it. I
taste the
get
fizz.
lemon. I get lemon for sure. I don't know how Chad's feeling about it. He's rocking back and forth. Oh no. Oh, that actually is a lot gentler than I thought it was gonna be. It is very like lemony frosting. I mean, it's like a little lemon cupcake or something, but there is that smoke still.
Yeah.
So you're
Like
getting that
the
sweetness,
birthday
that sugar
candle is
sweetness.
also on fire.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
getting
I get the
sugar sweetness
sugary.
I'm talking about as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
So
if
it's
I'm
not
looking
all,
past
it's not
that
all
smoke.
ditch water and brine and medical cabinets and TCP
Yeah,
It
and
is
all
not.
these.
It is not.
3-4 years ago, this would have had me on the floor. It's a lot, but
Like, okay, for me, it's
I
like
can pull out some positives.
the lemony birthday cake candle caught the house on fire. But like, but I'm still enjoying it. Like, I still get,
Yeah.
it's nice. I mean, it's not my favorite. I'm enjoying the experience of trying it again. And
Experience.
we've had, things, or trying something like this again and,
Yeah.
talking through it. I think it's fun.
Let me
I don't
suggest-
know that you're having a great time.
If everything aligns and if it works out while you're on Isla, there's going to be a moment that your primary senses are going to be flooded by everything that you've just mentioned, while your feet are grounded on the soil of Isla, and everything's going to make sense. The reason that it tastes like that is because that was the fuel source. That was the only fuel that they had. They didn't have oil, electricity, or coal back in the day. They only had peat that they burned. So the flavor was incidental. They didn't know the flavor of peat because everything that they cooked with or heated their house with, everything was peated.
Was Pete.
So
they're
the
peat
flavor that
blind,
was
basically.
imparted on that barley was an incidental flavor, and that became the Highland style of whiskey, the Isla Islands style of whiskey. That was the flavor, and that's why people think that Scotch is smoky, because many blends use just a little component of that in there, and they always thought that the single malt was too potent, too powerful to be enjoyed on its own. But let me tell you that the most powerful ally I've had to convert people into Scotch whiskey is what you've been sipping there. Because when people come into
Really?
whiskey, what they need is a hook, a flavour hook, something that doesn't taste just like generic whiskey to them. And often a peaty, smoky whiskey, especially these days when we love our barbecue, or smoked meats, or smoky, strong flavours, or smoky, powerful coffees, that hook brings them in and they love it. I understand as a bourbon drinker, it's going to be a wee bit trickier for you, but there will be a moment,
see
and
that.
I want to hear about it in detail when it happens.
I will try to do a voice note, or we'll try
Well,
to get it
we'll
on
film. We'll
camera.
film
I
ourselves,
want to have
yeah.
that aha moment. Yeah.
Yeah, that Peat moment.
That offbeat moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
An epiphany.
Exactly.
Yeah.
An epiphany.
An epiphany. Whew. Well, I would like to drink something.
Okay. You want to
else?
Okay, you doesn't.
I like the way you guys drink. So, do you
All
want
right.
me to pick something, or are you gonna pick your own?
Do you want one of those Scotch malt whiskey
I
societies?
wouldn't mind to try one since I didn't get to try last time.
I
Good
don't remember
idea.
what those were. Oh, we have a wee scamp.
Well,
Fresh from
there's
the
a
Replicator, I
crossing
think
the
we
Event
have.
Horizon from Glen Scotia.
Yeah, we have that.
Do that one.
Oh wait, I don't see it. Oh, that was.
I thought I saw it.
Yeah, those are back here. I see.
No, it's one of the Scotch Malt Whisky Society ones.
Yeah, but it's
we have a sample.
It's a sample though.
That's okay. Well, the reason that I'm going towards
93.177.
that is that because it's a Campbelltown whiskey. There's only
Yeah.
Oh.
3 operating
Okay.
distilleries in Campbelltown, so
I don't have a ton of
Don't
experience.
think. Yeah, I've had
with-
a lot of Campbelltown races. Sing this song.
Oh, jeez.
It's very light.
it might be peated. I'm not sure because Glen
I think
Scotia.
you're gonna have to. Oh, we will find out. I think you're gonna have to get over this whole color difference thing.
I'm just pointing things out, Sarah. I can't contribute a whole lot to the Scotch conversation.
It's
so-
just your scientific
well,
observations.
Yeah.
If you
Fair enough.
know it's natural color, if they do not fake the color, if it's natural color, then you celebrate the color of the whiskey, whether it's
Yeah.
light, dark, or in between. You can actually use it as part of the appreciation. When they color
That's what
the
I was
whiskey,
doing.
then it kind of renders it redundant.
Mm-hmm.
Is it coastal?
This one
Yeah.
has, well,
Yeah, sandalwood, beachy vibes.
it does have a little bit of that, but I also think it has a little bit of that, like, whipped frosting that you kind of mentioned on the last one. It has, like, a little bit of that in there, too. It's not overly sweet, but there's a little bit of vanilla
Interesting.
frosting.
We have a super chat from Michelle for the third time. Michelle,
Michelle,
have a great
David.
time in Scotland. If you again go to Speyside, we'll definitely go with you. Oh, if you go again to
thank
Speyside,
you.
we'll definitely go with you. Okay.
You never
All right,
know.
Michelle.
You never know what we'll do.
We might
Yep.
be going to Ireland next time. I don't know.
Where in the
Go
world
to
is this
Speyside,
bourbon night?
Michelle. Enjoy it, drink it in, but always remember West is best.
West is best.
West is best.
Said the guy from the West.
West is best.
No.
Born and
Yeah.
raised.
Well, shall we finish up our pronunciations?
Yeah, let's do it. I want
Whose
to taste this
turn?
real quick.
Okay. Whose turn was it?
You're looking for fortification from the whiskey in order to help you with the final
Yes.
really tough ones.
Oh,
Loosen me up.
I like that. That's got a little bit of that effervescence that we had
Herbal.
earlier.
Still that vanilla frosting in there, but with the herbal. Almost
It's got
like
a little
parsley.
It does have a little bit of peat. I don't think that's just what's left over on my palate. I think that's from this. Campbelltown, huh?
This is funky. Like it's like like I said, I'm thinking like parsley, like when you just eat it raw,
Yeah,
like bitter almost
yeah,
parsley.
Little
But
vegetable.
herbal, yeah, a little bit of vegetal, but I still get underneath all that vanilla frosting.
Fantastic.
I see that.
I just like this is such a fun experience, and I like tasting scotches.
Or-
Even if I don't like it, I still think it's fun because I think it's a good exercise in identifying flavors that I'm not used to. Like we get in a
Yeah.
kind of a cyclical thing when we taste a lot of bourbons, where I feel like just are saying a lot of the same flavor notes over and over again.
Sure.
Even though we're trying different things.
Yep.
Because it's all very much in the same camp, but I love to taste other things just to be like, whoa, I've never said parsley before.
Lemon pound cake.
Yeah.
Even if all
right.
you're achieving is reassurance that the lane that you're in is the right lane, then that's why you should stay open to trying other things, right?
Yeah.
But I just
After
like the. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, just bourbon's your thing. You're trying other things, then you go back to bourbon and it's like, oh, okay, no, this is why I love bourbon. But you
Well-
remain open, and it hopefully
Yeah.
expands your vocabulary and your library of flavor references, right, and aroma.
Precisely.
So I remember this this story. Someone was talking to Kirk Hammett of Metallica. He's the lead guitar player.
Pronunciation.
Yeah. And they were asking him, what do you listen to for inspiration when you're trying to write new songs? And he said the exact opposite of metal. He said, I'll listen to classic, or I'll listen to jazz, or I'll listen to anything that's not metal, because, you know, it sparks different parts of the brain, and different things go on that you then borrow from and you bring back into your genre that you're writing.
Well, you'll like this. Have you seen that interview with Dave Grohl where he said that a lot of the like drum things that he got from like on the album Nevermind were from disco?
Yeah.
And I think that's because disco is like the opposite of grunge.
Yeah.
You know? And so I think it's really fun. But I agree. I think it like gives you inspiration and it helps you stretch your legs or like work creatively in your mind in a different space.
Absolutely.
And that's how I feel about trying whiskeys other than bourbon.
Agreed.
Even if I'm not like, oh, I love this, I want to drink this every day. It's just still good. I don't know. It's a good experience.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I think this one is...
I don't imagine that you're going to arrive here and just fall in love with Scotch so much that you're going to have the trouble of working out how to rebrand its bourbon night when you return home.
Now,
it's whiskey
with
night.
Scotch.
Oliver. It's whiskey night.
Yeah. It's a whiskey night, or it's bourbon night now, international, whatever.
yeah.
We'll just like put the little passport stamp on it.
Now without any also.
That's cute for our videos. Oh, that's cute. Okay, we might have to do that.
Just give me
Is
more
it
work.
cute? No. Chad, do more work.
Yeah.
Make graphics.
Okay. Speaking of graphics, I think we're on the third one of the last round, so I think
only
this
a few more.
You, Sarah.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
I think you made this one up, Roy. I don't think this is real.
I'm gonna just do the least that I can do because it's gonna be wrong anyways. Stewardare. Bunahaven. I can't read it. I can't see that part.
It's the same. It's just because Chad's suggesting I'm making things up. No, it does exist.
Oh, I see.
So I'm making.
I thought he was trying to give you
What
a
did I
clue.
say? Stewardare.
You said Studebaker.
Studebaker.
That's. I know mine's wrong. I'm like
Stewardar.
So close. If either of you had remembered from the Lechic that a D is a ch sound, you'd have got
a
it.
D is a ch.
So Stewardshire. Stewardshire. Yeah. And this little guy on the you see the little guy on the Bunahaven logo? I'm going to try and can you see him? That is he is a Stewardshire. He is a helmsman. That's what he is.
Of course he is.
He's
A
a
D
Stewardshire.
is a CH and a CH is a K with a sound after it. Or
and up is down and cats and dogs.
And an M and an H, you just forget it.
You don't even say it if it's at the end of a word.
If it's in the middle, I don't know.
If it's a middle, you go you just do that. I don't know.
I'm really enjoying this. This is a lot of fun. Next.
Okay. This one will be me.
So you're going to need to draw on everything that you've learned.
I've learned so little. I've retained so little, I should say.
Okay, I think I've got it. I mean, I don't know.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here, Roy, and say it's Abendir.
Right.
Okay. Right?
No, not correct.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oven. Chirk.
Oh my goodness.
Did I learn?
It's perfect. Absolutely perfect. It was said with such nervousness.
So much nervousness.
Avenjark. Avenjark. So you've got the K for the G, you've got the V for the BH. It's just as close as
and
you
the
could
CH
ever.
for the D, right?
Yeah, but
Or
Exact. Well, it's just yes.
How did you say it?
Avengeric.
Yeah, a jet or a
Jarek.
chit or a Avengeric.
Jarek. So instead of a chut, it's ja.
It literally
Okay.
means Red River, and it's a wee tiny distillery.
Why can't we just say Red River?
Just say Red
Chad?
River, yeah.
Hush.
But
I
if
just
you're
said
from
Red
an
River.
island where they speak Gaelic, and Lewis, where this distillery is one of the strongholds of Gaelic. If you had a distillery called Red River, it would be odd. Your distillery would be called Avengeric. So, Sarah, I'm so impressed. I am so
Thank you.
so impressed.
Oh,
Sorry, Chad.
This is the reason.
She
You're
did
the
very
reason
well,
why
and
the
she
language is
deserves it.
dying. You're the reason why they have to save it. Because you're like, can't we just call it Red River?
Can't we call it Red River? Let's get this super chat here from Jimmy
Yay.
saying, I don't know how to tell you. I don't know. I don't know how well you know Roy, but he's the best man you'll talk to about whiskey without an E. Also, he's from the east of Scotland. Wow.
But
I thought you said you were
Best
west.
is best.
Yeah,
He's
because
calling you out.
I was born in the sort of east. I was born in Perth, but I had my formative years, and my culturally formative years in the west, and so I'm a fake.
Okay.
I'm a fake Glaswegian.
You're a transplant.
I think Jimmy likes to point it out.
Well, we won't tell anyone else except for the internet who we just told.
Well, we appreciate that, Jimmy.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Appreciate it.
I agree. He is the best.
I agree with that statement. Okay, we got
Wait,
one.
I got points.
Yes, you got points in the hard round.
Should be double points.
Yeah, it probably is. Last one.
Okay, I go first. This one. You went first. No,
Yes.
you go first.
Did you go first on?
I don't know.
No, I went first on that
No,
one.
it's Chad. It's Chad went first last time.
Yeah,
With
you
Avengeric.
did.
So it's you.
So it's me. Okay.
I want to apologise for any native Gaelic speakers that ever pick up this broadcast.
I'm
I do not
so
speak Gaelic,
sorry.
but- yeah.
Totich Ja.
Okay, I'm gonna go with. Oh, I had it in my head until you talked.
Sorry. That was awful. This is great. I'm having so much fun.
Me too.
All right, it's Toichaja.
Oh.
That was really good. Mine
Chad,
was terrible.
I want to give it to you. I want to give it to you for that. It's so good that you would get away with it. So it's Tochik Ada. So or you could harden the CH and it's Tochik Ada. So Tochik is
Tochik.
smoky.
Oh, the CH is a K.
And Ada is twice. So it's double smoked Bunnahabhain. So it's extra
Wow.
peaty Bunnahabhain. Tochik Ada.
So this time the
Bunnahabhain-
D is a D.
And that,
Okay.
yes, because there's an H there.
Got it. If there's an H,
Ada.
then it's an actual D sound.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
So that means
Whoa.
that if we give Chad that as a point, do you think he deserves that
I think
as a
that's
point?
fair. It was pretty close. It was way better than me. It was
So,
pretty close.
partial-
If you said it was
partial credit.
passable,
In the first round, Sarah was 5 to Chad's 4, but he managed the Deanston, which leveled that up. In the second round, you had 3 each, and in the last round, you had a point each. It's a draw all round.
I
But
accept.
I think-
Wow.
It's like
think
in soccer
for Sarah,
or
for
football.
Sarah managing Avengeric, I think she probably nudges. If we were to raise hands at the end of all the rounds, I think that
Yeah.
probably Sarah's would. Would
She'll
you
get the
agree?
judges ruling.
Teacher,
Yeah.
I got extra credit.
if it was a boxing match and it came down to a judge's decision, the ref would raise Sarah's hand.
Thank you. Except for that, there's a few that I
Well
butchered.
done.
But
Well done.
thank you. Yay.
Salancha.
This was fun.
Yes,
It
it really
was.
was.
I can't wait to do it in real life where there's no points.
Yeah, when they ask us what we're ordering and we go, Tuishkada?
Did you just make that up?
Point.
Yes.
No, that was,
Oh, that was the last one.
yeah.
Yeah. I'll be like, how many points do I get for getting that right? And they'll be like, none.
None, and you owe me 5 pounds or whatever.
Yeah.
Terrific. Superb.
Wow.
That was great. Thank you
Wow.
so much for staying on late with us. We do appreciate it.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Are you okay?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm actually very impressed with myself that it was that close.
I
between
am
you and
also impressed with you.
Yeah.
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
There you go.
See?
Massachusetts.
Slaying it.
Massachusetts.
Slaying it.
I'm going to finish.
Wow.
I'm going to finish the way I started. I'm going to finish with a bourbon, and I'm going to finish with a wee Stag Junior because this was all dark cherries and powerful stuff.
Yes.
Powerful.
Yes.
That's some
If
good
I'm going
stuff.
to have a flavor as I go to bed tonight on my palate, I want it to be this. So much so that I
Yeah,
might not
I don't blame
even
you.
brush my teeth this evening after this.
Just to let the Stag Junior just marinate in there. I want it to be
Right.
this.
Whereas I'm going to have to take a shower.
Oh,
No,
Chad.
I'm kidding. But yeah, so Stag Junior, you definitely know the Kentucky Hug off of that one. I mean,
That one's
Right,
more
let's
like
go
a
for it.
Kentucky Derby winner kicked you in the chest.
Yeah, I
but-
would say Elijah Craig Barrel Proof was more of the Kentucky Hug, and the Stag is more of a esophagus type
It's more of an assault.
assault.
But I like it.
in a really good way.
In a good way.
In a very invited way.
You want...
This is just a terrific drink. I don't just mean this is a good bourbon, this is a good whiskey. I just mean just as a thing to be able to taste and to feel is just absolutely terrific that it exists, right? It's just
Agreed.
63.95%.
Yeah.
Yeah. 127
Delicious.
point something.
This is my favorite pour of the evening. The Glenturret,
Yeah?
the 27 year.
Yeah.
My favorite pour of the evening.
Let me
You've
remind
got an
me.
expensive date there, Chad.
Oh, yep, I know it.
He already knew that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
This is...
that might be mine too.
It's delicious.
Very balanced.
And
Matt
usually
Zetrick-
Oh,
Yeah.
Matt Dittrich. I need
Uh-huh.
to thank him again for that.
Yeah.
Usually, when it comes to bourbon, I would say 80 proof. You lose all the flavor. But I think because of the age statement, you really still... I don't miss the proof. It's so tasty. I don't miss the proof.
Yeah.
Well, what's interesting again about Scotland is that what we lose, your ABV can increase because of the climate and the maturation. Our ABV goes down.
Oh, so
there-
you're not adding as much water.
Well, we're losing ABV. So we do add water. We do reduce it for bottling. Of course we do. But sometimes we can have cask strength whiskies that are 40% ABV.
Wow.
Very
So
low.
I guess that's the thing is that even
That's
if
nuts.
this is 40% and maybe there is some water added, because the ABV goes down, you're not adding as much water. So it's more true to what was in the barrel.
Correct.
Whereas over here,
Well-
things may come out at 120 proof and they
Yeah.
may water it down to 80.
Much like, some distilleries
That's
like,
a lot of water.
like Michter's and some others, Wilderness Trail, they pride themselves on a low barrel entry proof. Like
they add the water on the front end.
103 proof off the still into the barrel at Michter's. So
Or-
their barrel
That's what I mean.
barrel proofs can be 110 sometimes, 108. But they say, do all that on the front end instead of taking it out at 140 and cutting it down to 90.
Because then the water
that's
is
so
getting...
much water in there with your whiskey.
Right. Well, then if you add
Yep.
it on the front end, the water's getting the same treatment as
Yeah.
the whiskey. Whereas if you add it on the back end, it's just watering down
Yeah.
Yeah.
the whiskey. Anyways, I think this is delicious, and I would like some more, but it's gone. I drank it all.
So, just from the chat here, I know that a lot of people who may regularly be on your channel, Roy, have joined us, and we really do appreciate that. But also, we have a lot of our regulars in here as well. So, I do want to reiterate one more time that if you are interested at all in Scotch, maybe you're even just Scotch curious, to make sure that you go to Aquavite, Roy's channel over there on YouTube, and you give him a big O sub.
Give him a subscribe.
I've said this before in here, but your recycled reviews are just a thing of beauty. I love
true
that.
joy to
love
watch.
that format so much. That's where I took the picture of you for tonight's thumbnail, was from a thumbnail of recycled reviews. And your knowledge and demeanor amongst your accent is just always top notch.
You're just a delight.
You are a delight, and you've helped us out on the Bourbon Night Awards before, doing that silliness, indulging us in,
Yeah.
in that. So we have to always, we're always in your debt for that, sir.
Yes.
So thank you so much.
And we look forward to seeing you
it's
this
easy.
weekend.
You guys make it easy. It's if you ever need anything, I've had the pleasure of being in the same space as you guys, so it's not. I know how good people you are, and it's a privilege that we have you doing what you do in whiskey. I think it's fantastic, and I'm glad to be here with you anytime you ask.
Thank you.
Love it.
We are excited to break bread with you next weekend.
That's true.
Me too.
That's true.
Can't wait.
It'll
Yeah.
be great.
In your homeland, in your home court,
Oh.
and it's still, we got to get you over here on our home court
One day,
sometime.
one day.
Let's make that
Yeah.
happen, okay?
No pressure.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
That's a bucket list right there.
Good.
Perfect.
Good. We'll do some barrel picks.
Thank you, Scott.
I hope so.
All right, let's
close it out.
We'll close it out. Oh, there it is. Yeah, Scott
There it is.
putting it up there. Aquavite
Easy stuff.
on the whiskey tubes. All right.
Thank you, Scott.
Well, sir, we will see you in less than a week, and you
Well,
all.
the only thing left to do is raise a glass and
Oh.
greet and to my health in Gaelic.
Oh,
We've done
let's
it
do
2 or
that.
3 times. You remember Michelle even wrote it out phonetically.
It's true.
I love.
The menacing laugh from Roy there. Sorry. I'll help you.
Well, just in-
Slancheva.
Yeah,
Slancha.
Salancheva.
Slancheva.
I always want to say dummies afterwards because the Scotch has dummies.
Yes.
Yeah, you can't just go around calling people dummies.
I know it. As far as seeing you all next week, we won't.
We won't.
Because we'll be in Scotland. That'll actually be two
Sundays.
Sundays.
We'll try to put things out along the way so you don't feel
Right.
completely starved. We want to bring you along with us as we can.
Follow us on the socials, Instagram.
Definitely follow us on Instagram if you want to see how it's going.
Yeah, watch our stories there. YouTube
put stuff
Shorts
on
maybe.
Patreon, YouTube Shorts.
yeah. So
Keep an eye out.
But as far as lives go, 2 weeks off, and then we'll have lots of Scotland stories
Yay!
after that when we come back.
We look forward to seeing you when you get back.
Yes. All right, folks. The graphic here is going to say see you next Sunday, but it's a lie.
Disregard.
But thanks for watching regardless. And we'll see you when we see you.
Bye.
Salancheva.
Bye-bye.